Happy New Year. Welcome to the Light Gate. We're coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast. We are on Facebook, we're on Roku, we're on Rumble, and we're on YouTube. We want to thank our sponsors. Thank you very much. Carnation, you are with us for a while now. I think we're closing in on a year. We love you very much. I hope everybody had good holidays using Carnation, and let's get going. Preston, we have one of my favorite people on the show tonight. It's her first time with us, and I'm very excited because I have more in common with her than I realized when I first started hearing from her and talking to her. And I'm just really excited. I want to hear all about her life and everything. So,
yeah, well, I'm super excited too, because it was an incredible synchronicity that brought her to us, which we'll hear about. And yeah, this is episode 142 of The Light Gate. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm your host, Preston Dennett. My lovely co-host is, of course, Dolly Safran. We're pushing 3 years on the show now, Dolly, I think. Pretty soon.
2 and something, yes. Right.
Because, 52 weekends, that would be 160 about, 156. We're at 142, so 20 more shows will be 3 years. Pretty darn cool. So yeah, thank you guys. We are absolutely just so blessed that you could join us today. And as Dolly said, we're very, very excited about our guest today. So I'm going to get pretty much right to it. I will say a very quick hello, because I don't want to waste too much time. And I keep getting in trouble from some of you guys who are waiting to see our guest. And definitely, Dolly likes to just go straight to the show. So I will just say hello to all you folks real quickly. We've got Catmaster Trash. We've got Jamie Mashburn. Love you all. Happy New Year, Louise. Astrid Gruder. We got Cherise Bazilla. Scarlet Fire. Hello.
Scarlet. Yeah.
We got quite a crowd already, Dolly. We got Blackbeard. Yes. We got Olivia Camilla. Janie Mashburn.
Hey, Janie, thank you, sweetie. Very much.
She's welcoming our guest, Joyce. We have the Owl Man. We have Patsy Foister. The lovely and unbelievably generous Namaste. Thank you, Namaste.
Love
Couldn't
you.
do this show without you. Amazing. Yep. We got Aurora Comedy. We got Groucho Trout. Carol Wilson, Flutter Lane. Who else
Very
do
cool.
we have? Little Dove, John Lanigan, and Droneworks.
And Droneworks, yeah, cool. Hi.
Barely got that one out. We got Miss Mary. We've got quite a few people here tonight. Scooter Hooter, Marla McMichaels. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, better get to the show. So excited. I mean, our guest is amazing. She's such a delight. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Her name is Joyce Aldrich, and she was born in Ottawa in 1955 to Irene and Lucien Aldrich. She was raised in a family with a strong theatrical background, living something of a gypsy life with her parents, attending 10 schools, living in 17 residences. Dolly, you can relate to that.
Yes.
You moved around a lot as a kid. In 2 provinces, Ontario and Quebec. She is from Canada. This was all by the age of 17. Her mother was an actress, singer, and producer. Her father was a commissioned salesman. And they came to Toronto to make her mother's fortune. And she landed, this is so cool, a 27-year gig, unheard of nowadays, as Rockin Irene at Ye Olde Brunswick House. We're going to have to talk about that, Joyce. That sounds so cool. In fact, she's got a brass plaque on the brick wall with her contribution, along with Etta James, Peter Appleyard, Gordon Lightfoot, Loretta Lynn. I mean, that is amazing company. Her mother never really wanted Joyce to sing, but genes are genes, as Joyce says, and being exposed to theater and music her entire life, it was part of her DNA. And there were some setbacks in her career, lots of starts and stops along the way. It made her quirky, which is okie dokie, as she says, because when you're an artist, that's the way it goes. So yeah, she's a singer. She paints, does the music thing. She does have her stuff on YouTube. and some of her songs are on iTunes as well. She's had an amazing lifetime of experiences, UFO experiences, ET experiences, paranormal encounters, and many other incredible adventures. She is the host of the Joyce Aldrich, you can correct me, Joyce, show on CHHA 1610 AM in Toronto on Sundays from 7 to 9, and frankly, on quite a few other platforms. Without further ado, she knows more about herself than I do, but I am learning. So let's bring on our lovely guest. Hi, Joyce.
Hello, Joyce. Welcome.
How you doing?
We're good. So happy to have you here with us tonight. This is a good lead off for the year for us. This is fantastic.
Oh, well, Happy New Year to you and all of your listeners and your viewers. I just want to make a little correction there. I'm not at CHHA anymore. It's got 16, 16, that was a Hispanic station. I was there for 11 years.
Wow.
But I've been doing the podcast for the last 2 years. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now with the Joyce Aldrich show. And yeah, you got it right.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, so much to talk about. So, where do you want to start?
Yeah.
Well, I normally start with asking people about their childhood and stuff, but today I want to do something a little different.
Oh,
I would
right.
like for you to tell the story about how we came together, the incredible
That's where I would
synchronicity.
like to start. Okay. For anyone who knows me really well, I suffer from insomnia. And this one night back in the fall, I had insomnia. And what I like to do is I can't just get back to sleep or I'm just, staring at the ceiling. So I listen to podcasts. And I turn my phone on, which is next to my bed all the time. It's not a good place to put it, but that's where my phone is. And in case I get a call, and I was scrolling through through my podcast, through the feed, and all of a sudden I saw this one about onboard experiences, and I went, "Oh, I've had onboard experiences." And in my mind, I said, maybe I'll find something here that is like my onboard experience. So I listened to the first one, very good story. I was captivated. I listened to the second story. Interesting. I like this guy's presentation. He seems to be very accurate. Third story came in, and then a fourth story, and he said this one is from Canada, and I go, oh, another Canadian. And it was my story, and you must have pulled it out of this book. So
That's the one.
yeah, because the story's in here. So you pull, because you are the purveyor and the collector of anomalous UFO stories, and thank goodness you're documenting it, because books are not always in print. This one still is. You can get it in Indigo in Canada. I don't know about the States, but certainly Canada it's still in print. But oh my goodness gracious, I thought, and I was so captivated by all your illustrations and everything. I said, he captured it, and you told my story so accurately, and I thought, this is a real deal. So then I approached you, and I had you on my program, and then I had Dolly, and that's how we got together. So and that's not too long ago, but it's like we've always been together, right? We landed in the same place.
That's exactly right. It was meant to be.
That field over there.
Par excellence. It's amazing because I don't know that he's ever had this happen outright the way this time it has happened. I know that people have contacted him who have been in his books and said, "Hey, you've got me in your book," but not to the level that this one went as quickly. Yeah, he's had that book in his bookshelf for a long time. I've seen it 3 or 4 times. He goes back and forth to it. Okay. And when he's doing research and stuff like that every now and then, and I'm like, okay, he's up to something, and he does his weekly show as well, and that's how you ended up on the weekly show. But he does write-ups and things, and he puts you in books like that book that he, onboard encounters, and that's amazing.
Well, the most incredible thing is I hadn't realized this is the first episode of Preston's, UFO stories that I've ever seen. So I thought it's a one-off, but it's not a one-off.
Yeah.
And then I looked at all how many have you got online? Like 3,000? No,
300.
Yeah. For years. Other,
hundreds.
yeah, other news as well.
And for
Yeah.
that one, and for that one to come up is bizarre. So I figure it's meant to be. And actually, while I was talking to you on my program, what I said is, I've heard a lot of people talking about UFOs and paranormal, and some of it doesn't ring true for me. And with you, it does. We have to be glued at the hip because you're telling the truth, absolutely the truth. Because I am an experiencer. I've kicked the tires, and you've driven them.
Looked in under the seats and in the glove box. That's right.
Right, that's right.
I felt an instant connection to you, so that was really cool.
Yeah,
and the synchronicity of it just made me feel like this was so meant to be. Because I hadn't picked up that book in a long time, and I flipped through it, and that's the story that jumped out at me. And I have to tell you, it's a terrific book. He's an absolute.
It is John Robert Colombo. He's called Mr. Canada. Actually, I entered him for the Order of Canada, and he did get it. And he's called Mr. Canada because he compiles all kinds of Canadian stories, whether it's ghost stories, UFO, all kinds of compilations. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, he's still alive. He's good. He's amazing.
Yeah, your story definitely caught my attention. I could tell instantly, like, oh, this is legit. And I did more research, and I found little bits and pieces here and there. I found your show. Like, this is a good case. This is someone who's obviously had real experiences. And it's just so interesting to me that synchronicity happened. You mentioned insomnia. So many contactees have that. That's another, just bringing that up, a little thing.
It's not considered insomnia. I'm just so wide awake all the time that I really don't have the need to sleep that much.
They don't need much sleep for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I know it's really weird. Like I have broken sleep. I try to get back to sleep, and I do sometimes for a couple of hours after. But yeah, it isn't easy. It isn't. So insomnia. Yeah. Well, yeah. I was afraid for a long time to walk past mirrors.
Really?
Why is that?
Okay.
Yeah, I always felt like something's going to take me because my first experience that I remember was they came through a window. So I think
reflection in the mirror, in the window. Yeah.
Well, I guess let's start with that. Going back to your early childhood, was the subject of UFOs. Did this ever come up before you had your experience, or was this completely like out of the blue for you?
Well, I think what happens for a lot of people who've experienced this experience is that they have a dream that they remember. It's like a vivid dream. Children don't remember dreams. Like, well, do you know what I mean? If you're 6 years old, do you remember your dreams? But I remember this dream, and it followed me throughout my life. And one day, and so one day Betty Stewart Dagenet, she's in this book as well with Rendezvous. I'll tell you that story after. Oh my gosh. Anyway, she was doing a symposium in Toronto, in Bradford, Ontario, where I was living at the time, and I was working for the local newspaper, and I was going to interview her for her symposium, and we got talking. I said, "Well, I have had a dream," and we realized that it was an experience. So the experience was, because I did go through a hypnotic regression.
Let's start with the dream. What did you dream?
Well, that's what I'm going to tell you. The dream itself, the actual dream was, I'm lying in bed. We're living right in front of the Rockcliffe Air Base in Ottawa. Okay, so we're on Manor Park there. Eastern Drive is where we lived. And it's all row houses, like three, like triplexes. It's an Ottawa kind of style of building. We don't have them in Toronto. Anyway, we were in the lower level, and it was a 2-bedrooms. My parents had 1 bedroom. My brother and I shared another bedroom. So his bed was like this. There was a window, and my bed was like this. And I was 6 years old at the time, so he must have been about 2. And I remember seeing in my window, I thought they were spacemen. I thought they were, like they had like helmets on them, and it was like, and visors. And the next thing I knew was I was looking down, and there were lights. I was floating in the air, and there were lights. And I remember this. I didn't remember anything else. That was my dream.
Oh, wait,
But
let
it
me
was
see.
it was a weird dream. Like how, I dreamt about spaceman. And because I don't know how I knew about spaceman when I was 6, because that was 1961. I
Yeah.
guess we had the Gemini missions at that time, and the Mercury. What was the Mercury? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Apollo, Mercury, Apollo.
Your Gemini, Apollo. Yep.
Yeah, Gemini, Apollo. What was Mercury? Maybe that'll come up. Anyway, that's the next one. Anyway, but the thing is, yeah. So that's what I remembered, and so
Wow.
Betty recommended that I see Dr. David Gottlieb. Now he was a GP psychotherapist here in Toronto, and not a charlatan. He was a real GP psychotherapist.
Yeah.
And he was involved with the Intruders Foundation in New York with Bud Hopkins. And, Bud Hopkins, of course, wrote Intruders, right? And he decided that I should have this. She decided she should go for a regression. So I went for a regression. And of course, back then, people say, "Oh, get it recorded, get it taped and everything," So I sort of, sheepishly asked Dr. Gottlieb, "Can we have this taped?" He said, "Why would you want tape? First of all, he's a doctor. He's a GP psychotherapist. He's a medical doctor. To ask that is really dumb." And he said, "Here, my job for you is to integrate the experience into your life so that you can, go out with normalcy, because it does cause a little bit of PTSD, because we don't walk the planet like a lot of other people, if you know what I mean."
It's a journey for, I think, pretty much everybody.
It is a journey, whether they fess up, whether they tell people about it, or whether they hold it inside. And so many people are holding it inside. But I decided to come out of the closet because it's like a rape victim. I'm going to put it that way. Sometimes you have to talk about it so other people don't feel like they're alone. Not that it's like being raped. It was not a bad experience for me. So anyway, we did the regression, did a couple of them. And what happened was, okay, they're at my window. And instead of the big helmets and visors, it was the large heads and the large eyes. And then they came through my window. And then
So
they just
like
do
that.
that. Yeah, there. Oh, yes. These are remarkable, by the way, what you did. And I had a little bit more red in my hair at that time. Anyway, but that's very lovely. No, so they came through my window, and then they picked me up in their arms, and we went up through the ceiling. Now, realizing that we're in the basement unit, and then there's a second floor and a third unit. So we went right up through the ceiling. And when I looked down, yes, that's right, in a beam of light. And I'm looking down, and I see others in there also looking in other windows.
Oh, wow.
There wasn't much mine, there were others. And then I looked up, and there was a portal. We went through it. And I was standing in what I call a bay area. I don't know why I called it a bay area. That's what I called it. But they had like oval doors. They weren't square.
No square, no angles. Yeah.
No angles. But the thing that they did do is they took me into an elevator, which I don't recall anyone talking about elevators, but we went into something that took us to another level. And while I was in there, I was looking at their eyes because I'm a little kid and I'm looking at these bug eyes,
Yeah, sure.
And telepathically they said to me, "Oh, we don't see like you do. We see more like your insects do. We can actually see like X-ray vision. They can pick up quite a bit of information with those eyes, right?" So anyway, they brought me into another room. They had the gurneys, they put me on a table, and then they started to, it's playful. They had a little cloth and they put it on my eyes, took it off, put it on my eyes, took it off. I don't know, to see the reaction in my eyes, I guess. I don't know. I'm 6 years old. What do I know? So, and then the next thing they did, they put these 2 tubes up to my eyes, and I would call them, because like a cathode tube. Yes, thank you. You did such great illustrations. I feel like I'm doing it all over again. That they put these tubes, because I was a dental assistant, so I knew it. I remembered. Oh yeah, they look like cathode tubes, like X-ray. And
Wow.
yeah, and they were feeding, they said, information into my eyes. And I thought, well, why? Well, of course, the eyes are an extension of the brain, really, like when you're feeding, you pull all this information in with your eyes. So it just made sense, but didn't to me at that time. Then I started to say it hurt my head. So they stopped, put me on a little bench, and then I guess I went home. Right. But before I went home, they leaned over and they said, remember, you are a custodian of the earth.
Wow.
That's it,
Because
because we really,
that very statement in my youth. Yeah, we're custodians of the earth.
Mhm.
Yep. I didn't hear it. We are, all of us.
yeah, exactly. In other words, you humans. It's like the
Right.
Adam thing, isn't it? Really, when you think about the Bible, and that's exactly what God basically told him: name the animals, take care of the earth, all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of biblical. So it's got to
Yeah.
wonder about all that stuff too,
It
So-
drove me to go into ecology and science and things like that. I had to understand everything about it after that. I became obsessed. So,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
Well, wait, that leads me to my next question. So you're 6 years old, you have this experience, you remember it pretty much as a dream, but it's extraordinary to me because looking at contactees, they have some real honest to God commonalities. The number of contactees who are artists or who are interested in astronomy or music or the creative arts, so to speak, but they'll have an encounter at a young age and it kind of changes their life path a little bit. I'm wondering, did you start thinking differently at that age? Did you start getting interested in anything? Did this affect you in any way that you're aware of?
Well, I guess I was born into an artistic family to begin with, but I love to sing. I was, from the time I guess my first cry, I always loved to sing. That was my thing. And I remember in grade 2, Mrs. Bryson keeping me back at recess because she wanted to, we had these reel-to-reels back then, and she recorded me singing Me and My Teddy Bear. And I remember also when we go on these Greyhound bus trips with my grandparents, I'd be singing in the bus and everybody say, oh, she has such a sweet voice and everything. So I always loved to do that. Painting, well, I love to paint, but I still paint like I did when I was 6 years old. I do. Ask anyone who's seen my paintings, but I do paint. But we had the newsprint with the tempera. Everyone else was doing little trees. I was just smacking it on. But I love color. What can I tell you? I designed this thing behind here, but that's
Beautiful.
Very cool.
Yeah.
that's the Bradford Triangle.
Yeah. How were you in school at other things like? Okay, so I know you went to a lot of different schools, which makes that difficult in a learning situation. Did your parents back you up at home with homework and stuff like that? I mean, did they help you with that, or you were basically on your own with it?
I was on my own for most of the stuff, because my mother was busy making a career for herself in the entertainment business. And unfortunately, when I was 2, we had a head-on car crash. We were it was terrible. And my dad was driving like this to make me feel like, woo, look at this, Joyce. I was 2 years old sitting in the front seat. My mother was sitting in the back, who just dropped off some lady. And we were in a Vauxhall, which is not a very big car. And so my dad saw another car coming at us, and this guy was drunk. And my dad saw the car coming, and he stopped, and he opened the door and he threw me out because there were no seatbelts at that time. So I got thrown on my right side, so I got the scar, the lump. I got different little injuries. And my mom, though, who was at that time, she was 22 years old, and she had a beautiful contract with Crawley Films, National Film Board, and a modeling contract. She looked like Ava Gardner. She was a beautiful woman. But after that accident, she got cuts on her face, and which healed, thank God. But she had to walk with a cane for a year. So she ended up losing those contracts. So it was very difficult at home because she was desperate to get her career off. So she did anything she could to, she was a producer, singer, so she did lots of stuff. Anyway, there.
Yeah.
Have I answered the question? I don't think
You did it eloquently, actually. That's amazing. How many experiences do you remember as a small child? I mean, for how long? What age range did you go up into? I mean, what was that like?
Well, that's a good question because I did meet with Bud Hopkins, and that would be the Jerry Springer story. But I did meet with Bud Hopkins in Chicago, and we went to a museum of art at that time, and he was walking around, and he said that prior to that 6-year-old experience, he said, for sure you had other experiences. And he had told Dr. Gottlieb that my experience was identical to another woman in Germany, you know,
Oh, wow.
which gave them credence and everything. But yeah, I don't remember those at all, but I do remember when I was a little girl, about 3, sitting in a cupboard playing with an imaginary friend. And I called her Mary. And
Wow. Yeah.
anytime anything would happen, my mom would say, "What happened?" I'd say, "Mary did it. Mary did it. It was Mary. It wasn't me. It was Mary." I was convinced it was Mary, but I used to sit in the cupboard and talk to Mary. And I don't remember Mary, but I know it was someone I used to sit and talk to.
Yeah, mine's name was Kuba, Quba, Kuba.
Oh, did you do the same thing?
Yeah, she was like an extra dimensional being who had lived on this earth and had elevated to that realm, you know, just beyond ours, you know, next dimension over. And she was working with me, and which means you had somebody working with you too. And it's intentional on their parts, okay? Especially with ET, they'll get somebody to work with you as you're going up to send you in a certain direction, you know, encourage you to do this, that, and the other. And it's usually at those very young ages. And mine started at the age of 2 and went all the way to the age of 6, almost 7. And her name is Kuba. And my mother, they all like, well, okay, whatever. And I was in my room one day and I had the door shut and I was playing tea party with Kuba and my stuffed animals and a doll.
Yeah.
And my mom heard me ask Kuba a question and then she heard Kuba answer me. And she didn't even with her hand. She burst through the door. Where is this person? And of course she didn't see, you know, Kuba left. And she said, do you see this person physically? I mean, I got drilled after that.
Did you see her physically? Because I didn't see mine physically. I just know I talked to her.
Yeah, I could see her physically for some reason. I could. My daughter could too. She saw the same one. She called her Sabadi Cuba for whatever reason. When I heard her say that, I was like, huh? And say that again.
Generational to people who don't know.
Yeah, it's generational. Yeah. Yeah. So do you have any children?
I do. I have a boy and
Did
a
they
girl.
ever talk about an imaginary friend?
No, but I don't like to go into too much because they're like, we don't talk about our stuff. Like, you know, it's like, you know, we're in kind of denial of some things, but in a way, because I know my son recently asked, he finally said, well, you know, we're not the only ones. There've got to be other, you know, people on other planets. I said, yes. Yes, it's very true and interdimensionally. Yes, thank you. But yeah, he had he came down one night. I'll tell the story because what the hell? Sorry, what the heck? Sorry. It was a small swear word.
That's all right. We can say how.
Okay. And damnation. No. So anyway, one day he was eating his Cheerios. And he stops and he says, you know what, Mom? I said, well, he's 4 years old. He says, we're all God. And we're really living in a dream that's been going on for a very long time.
Wow.
He's 4, and he said that.
Yeah, my daughter, my daughter did the same thing. She goes, why is God? And I went, what? What did you just say to me? You know? So yeah, go ahead.
So, and then another time he came down and he said last night, he said, I stood at my window and I saw a rainbow. It was an upside down rainbow and it went swoosh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I asked him more and he said, yeah. And he said, and there were these, and I had him draw them and they had pointy little pointy little chins, these people. He said they did mind talk with me.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
like
I
you said,
think
it's
we've had
generational.
experiences, yeah. And my daughter, I'm not too sure. She's very psychic, though. My daughter's has gift. Has the gift.
That would be, yeah.
All right. So going back, at age 6, you had this experience. What brought you to, actually talking to David Gottlieb and realizing, oh my gosh, this could be UFO related?
Well, that would go back to Betty Stewart Dagenet, who I was going to interview for that symposium she was doing. She said, and then I told her about the dream. She said, you had missing time probably, and you've had that was an experience. She asked me too if I had ever had any pregnancies that were missing. I hadn't, which was a good thing. I'm glad that didn't happen. But so she referred me to Dr. Gottlieb. Yeah.
All right. At that point, because you had other experiences as an adult, isn't that right?
That was after. That was
okay.
after 1989. It was just when I went to Dr. Gottlieb in that area, and in 1989. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I had a store in Bradford called Joyce's Curio Shop with a PPE shop. Very cute. It was a metaphysical bookstore, but I'm in Bradford, which are like the people of the carrot. You know, the people of the corn. They were like okay. So the people of the corn, they're all strange, but for them, I was the strange one. And I know that the Baptist Church had 2 whole sermons dedicated to me. I was up there with the Antichrist, and I had people putting communion on my door of my store, and I also got a letter from the Jehovah's Witnesses in town. I was supposed to go to the Jehovah's Witness to Kingdom Hall. He wanted me to just come for a meeting, and this doctor who lived in town, he used to love to come into my store with his wife. This was the only interesting store in town. I had artwork, I had native art, I had all these metaphysical books and all this cool jewelry and all this kind of stuff in it, cool. I was interesting. Go figure. But then, but he said, he had his white lab coat on. I came in one day, said, Joyce, I can't come in the store anymore. I've got Jehovah's Witnesses who are my patients, and they're telling me they're not going to come and see me anymore if they see me walk into your store again. He said, but please, they sent you a letter, didn't they? Said, yes, don't go because they want to do an exorcism on you.
Oh my
really?
Gosh.
I didn't know Jehovah's Witnesses did that. Oh my goodness.
Apparently they do. So I didn't go. I declined. Thank you very much, but I can't go.
Good girl. Oh my God.
It was not easy, And but another time I had an experience, and of course I had of course psychics come up to my store, and we had circles, meditation circles. And unfortunately, on my store I only had cafe curtains, so you could actually see in to see what we were doing at night. So I was unabashed. I had a circle, and I had this one guy who used to come in, Claude. He and his girlfriend. His girlfriend only ate raw carrots. It was like, and we were all tree huggers and all that kind of stuff, But it was like that kind of thing, and they did that. They took me for a walk one day so we could hug trees. And I thought, it's nice. Hugging trees is fine. But it's good.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt.
Hug a tree. Yeah.
Go hug a tree. But the thing is that he would come to the sessions with a pyramid hat on him. Okay. Yes, I got a pyramid hat with a foil pyramid hat, because back in those days they felt that could deflect.
Help them. That's right. Right.
Mm-hmm. So it was in those times, So I had that store from 1992 to 94, and during that time I had a really strange experience. I was lying in bed. My husband at the time was in Niagara-on-the-Lake. He used to take because he was a drama teacher, and he used to take the kids for the Shaw, for the Shaw Festival and all that kind of thing, And I didn't go. I was there home with the kids, and I'm lying in bed. Not a word of lie. I sort of feel like my head pushed into the pillow, and I can't move. You know what I mean? I couldn't move. I felt
Right.
like someone was actually taking their hand and putting the pillow. And all of a sudden, I heard this electronic sound. I don't know, and I can remember it, and I really think I'm doing it right. It went like this escalating sound. And all of a sudden, I'm standing in my store, Joyce's Curio Shop. It's the middle of the night. Across the street, there's the police station. No cars on the road. It's like 3 or 4 in the morning, They're witching out. So I'm standing there behind, I had a table in the middle of the store. It had all kinds of books on it and everything, displayed. And the door opens and these 2 men walk in. Now, I swear they look like they could have been Mormons.
Wow.
They had like white shirts and black pants, which is very strange. They didn't have any name tags, so that was my key that they weren't cute, that they weren't Mormons, but they were very good looking, tall, 6 something, and I looked cute. I said, and they looked at me and I said, "Why am I here?" was my question. And they said, "You are here to communicate with the people of the planet Earth." Now, this sounds nuts, I know. But I said, "But I am from the planet Earth." And then all of a sudden I hear, "No," in this big booming voice, "No." And all of a sudden I hear again. And they dropped me about 3 feet or 2 feet. Let me not exaggerate. Maybe it was a foot. But they dropped me from this, and I bounced on my bed, on my stomach. I called Betty right away because it's 5:30 in the morning. Okay, I called her, "Betty, I think I have an experience." I told her what happened. It was that was another experience. So can you explain some of that to me, Dolly?
Well, I do have a question real quick.
Oh.
So when you see these 2 guys, did they look alike at all, or were they look different from each other?
They looked a lot alike. They looked like they could have been twins, but not twins. They had really nice dark hair and handsome features,
How
chiseled
tall?
features. Not that tall, they weren't the super tall people. They were like 6'1", 6'2", like they were like, tall. I'm tall, so at that time I was like almost 5'10".
You
I've
were
shrunk.
contacted by the military industrial complex, MILAB. That was a MILAB. And I'm curious as to why they put it to you that way, the way they did. They like to encourage people sometimes, which I find phantasmagorical at times, because they're
It's
looking for
disconcerting though to know that,
Yeah, they're looking for people who are psychic that they can use in certain ways. Okay,
Yeah,
and you're
because I
looking
was.
for people who are not
Yeah.
completely 100% aware yet. All right, you're on your way to it, but you're not 100% there yet. Okay, and they will contact you at that point to see how much they can work with you or use you to their purposes. Okay, I have a feeling that it didn't go well for them with you, because something about you did not jive, because it would have been multiple times after that you would have been contacted by them, and you weren't.
There was one other time when I was 43.
Okay, yeah, they were trying to get to see where you
But
were.
it might have been them. That it might, when I think about it, I had a dream. I had a dream. A dream about them, baby. No, it was a weird dream. I'm outside of an aircraft hangar.
Yeah.
I see a Harrier jet on top of another vehicle, because those jump jets. They can. But it was on top of a vehicle, like looked like an emergency vehicle, but it wasn't. It was some kind of vehicle, but it was on top of this. And I know I need to get into this aircraft hangar. So I'm looking at this thing, and there are stairs up the side, like to a door on the top, which would be the second level. I went out, like banged the door, this metal door. I couldn't get to anything. Then I went around to the front, and the front of it was open. It was open. Why didn't I go to the front? Stupid. So anyway, so I go to the front, and I see, about 3 or 4 guys dressed in suits. I know this sounds like the Men in Black, but I can't help but say they were dressed in suits, and they had attaché cases and briefcases. And I went up to them. I said, "I tried to get in here and I couldn't get in." They said, "Well, you're here now." And there were all kinds of cartons piled up against one of the walls and everything. And they said, okay, we need you to go back there to speak to them. And them would have been the ETs, I guess, and I turned to them and I
they're
said,
looking for ways.
but what I said to them, which may have been put them off, I said, you don't look like the other ones. And they said, yes, but we're walking on the planet. So it's either was that those guys that you talked about, or it could have been what they said, we're walking on the planet.
Right.
There are three agendas with the military and industrial complex with female psychics. Okay, one of them is that if they can control you, they can get you to communicate to ET for them. Okay, and they're looking to use you in certain ways for their.
Oh my gosh, that's why I had to go back and talk to them. Okay, that just put it together. Oh, Dolly, I love you, and I'm upset.
And it's okay. I've been contacted that way too. I've had them overtly following me for quite some time. Okay, they've overtly done things to like try to get me to walk into their camp. And no, one time I had it in 2019. It was really bad. Okay,
Yeah.
and this group of guys was just constantly surveilling me all the time. Okay, and because they were openly aggressive with me about it, and I baked a whole tray of cookies. I got little juice boxes, and I went out there and I kicked on the window, and he's staring at me like this, like, and he rolled the window down, and I said, "Look, I made these, and I ate one, okay?" And I said, "Pick a cookie for me to eat," and he picked another one. And I ate that cookie too, and I said, "No poison. I'm not trying to hurt you." And I said, "These are juice boxes, unopened, still in the wrapper, got the stored stuff on them. Please, it's hot. Enjoy yourselves, okay?" And then I said, "And then I want you to go home, go back to where you belong, cut it out, stop bothering me, because I'm warning you, it's not going to go good for you anymore." Okay, well, that didn't deter them at all. It got worse, okay, where they actually tried to make a nab on me, and that got thwarted, okay? The government wants to back engineer UFOs to the point that they can fly them out of our atmosphere. They do not have the technology. They want you to think they do, and they're going to push that agenda highly. A lot of people believe that it's true, but it's not. And they're looking for female flyers. Because
you are one, but you will not be used. No.
The reason female flyers is more good for them is females have our biology makes us a better able to learn how that bloody ship works. Okay, we have a better chance of working with the ship.
Because it's intuitive.
Yes, well, it's even that. I'm just wide open psychic, and I can interface with it. I have fought them my whole life and told them no. Okay, and I used
all
to worry.
Contactees are being watched.
Yeah,
pretty much all of them are being surveilled. This is a subject the government, our secret governments, take very, very seriously.
Right, and if you've been contacted, they know it.
Yeah, they know.
They watch everything. There's a neural net over the entire planet. You realize that, right? They've been watching everybody. They've been set up. I mean, it's really bad now, but 50 years ago, they still had a way. Yeah, they had technology already. It just hadn't come into the fore for everybody. And hey, and it's amazing how that works. And they're just looking for people they can use, because ET will not work with them. ET doesn't want anything to do with them. And you understand that they're coming after us for that reason, because they're looking for people that ET makes contact with regularly, and they'll nail you for it. And I've seen people being taken by them, unfortunately, quite a few people. And it's like, that's why I say, wake up, be aware of everything you do, and, make sure that nobody can take that kind of control over you.
It's such a shame, because they're targeting contactees, people who have genuine experiences, then start having these experiences with government folks. But I know you had another encounter that you talked about, which was, I forgot the date here, June 29, 1989. Do you remember this one with the mantids in your room?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, they were tall, skinny teens. They were like the real tall ones, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if
7 feet tall.
Yeah, that's sort of like the blocky heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I turned around. I woke up and I saw these shadows. I thought I was just seeing things, but it really wasn't. They were this really, really, really super tall. I didn't even know how they could stand. They were so skinny and tall.
Yep.
With, I don't know if they didn't have square heads, but they seemed top heavy.
They were.
You know?
Yeah. They are. Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? What did they do?
Skinny and top heavy, like a blockhead.
Yeah.
I can't explain it.
What did they do?
Nothing. They was staring at me, and I just got freaked out. And they left.
That's the one where you went under hypnosis and you were taken into a sort of boomerang-shaped craft, a light ship.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm just trying. Yeah. That. Just trying to think of boomerang-shaped craft. Yes, I'm gonna have to go look at my story again. Because it's true. Yeah. No. Yeah, because there's
They were telling you it was a light ship.
Yeah, it was a light ship. That's right, and it's photon power. It's a light ship, and yeah, they told me that they use photon power.
Like
Right.
it's light.
Light.
All photons are light. You know,
Yeah.
they have three components, and every proton has three little nodes in it that can make electricity. They actually emit light. All photons emit light, and
Yes.
if you harness the power of a photon through like electricity, you know, they create an electrical wave that becomes a graviton wave, and it's light technology. It's all light technology. That's how they operate. You know, so they were trying to explain it to you. That's cool.
Yeah,
They're telling you the truth. Yeah.
because they said they're not our space program the way it is. It's like it's baby. It's
Right.
not.
Stone Age. Yep.
It's very Stone
Bam,
Age.
bam, and pebbles flying around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Stone Age, and that they travel on light.
Yep.
And
Yeah. Well,
They
I found your story, and you talk about how they told you that humans are largely stuck in the third dimension.
yeah, and that it was, and that we don't really die. You know, we don't die. We don't die. We just go from Montreal to Toronto. You know,
yeah. That's exactly it.
It's a transition. We don't die. We're very much alive. You know, and our whole being. Like obviously, the physical isn't here, but we're not dead.
Right.
Exactly.
Consciousness itself, your light itself. You are.
Yes, exactly it. Yeah, become light. That's why people, you know, they talk about light beings and you're a light worker and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's nothing special, by the way.
Right.
That's everybody.
Everybody has that ability. That's right.
That's not just, oh, I'm a light worker. You know. Okay, so is everybody. So is everybody.
Exactly.
Everyone's got a special mission here on the planet.
Right.
And you know, and that's the way it is, you know.
Right. We're supposed to help each other with it. You know, we're supposed to be sharing this information freely, you know. We're not trying to take one another for granted or, you know, make money off each other this way. This is something that is absolutely given between all of us, you know. The more we learn and do, the more we should be helping to do as well, you know. And,
I agree. Well, you know what kind of, well, what I found difficult, especially with the new age stuff, okay?
Yeah.
It troubles me, you know, because people are trying to make green energy, if you know what I mean. You know, they want to make money doing this. It's a divine gift. Whatever you're given, it's a divine gift. Okay, yes, you got to make money. You got to have a job. You got to do something to bring in parnas, as we call it in Jewish. You know,
actually, you only need three things. You need a place to sleep, food to eat, and a roof over your head. Okay, that's all you need. Everything else is fluff. Okay, and it doesn't matter what that is. See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it shouldn't be. We're following the wrong gods. Okay, the gods of commerce are not the right ones. The gods of money are not the right ones. The gods of envy are not the right ones. The gods of ego are not the right ones. Okay, it's like this, you know. It's like, okay, I'll give you the example. I got interested in ecology and stuff like that. Okay, they were telling me, I was shown that animals were going to be a thing with me, and I became obsessed and learned everything that I possibly could. Okay, and one of the things that I learned, and this is just basic stuff, is that this planet that we're on is an ecosystem with micro ecosystems all through it, and we are in niches here that sustain our lives and give us a place to grow and evolve and become more than we are. Okay. That doesn't mean forget the ecosystem that we're living in and not take care of it. It means to enjoy it, and pass join to it, ground to it, and use it to grow and thrive and live and evolve. Okay. But now we're living in ivory towers that are glass and steel, and we have lost connection to one another through that as well. It might as well be the Tower of Babel in every study there is. Okay, because there's no real communication going on between everyone.
There's a lot of babbling, that's for sure.
Yeah. And that's true. I know.
So I know you've had some other really cool experiences. I want to hear the Jerry Springer story, but before we go there, it's a lovely story, Joyce. It really is. Your uncle had a sighting?
Yeah, my Uncle Leo. God bless him. And I come from a mixed background of Jewish and Catholic, both guilty, guilt-ridden. Anyway, my Uncle Leo, is the kind of guy on Saturday after he'd come home from confession. I love him. He'd be sitting there in his rocking chair, he just gone to confession and everything, Anyway, he's a very devout guy, but he was also very well read. My uncle read a lot. And I remember one day I was wearing some kind of UFO kind of shirt, back in the day. And he was at my dad's, visiting in from Ottawa, visiting my dad here in Toronto. They were sitting on the balcony. He was having a beer. I grabbed a beer, went to sit out in front, with him on the balcony. And then I said to him, Uncle Leo, I said, have you ever seen a UFO? And he looks at my shirt. He said, well, you would ask. And he said, yeah. He said, actually, I have. And he's a milkman at the time, and he had a run on a run. It was Empress Street, whatever, in Ottawa. It's early in the morning. He was just going to pick up, his milk to deliver. And he saw a UFO in the sky. He saw one. And he said at that time to me, he said, the government hides a lot of stuff from us. We don't always know what's going on. And I looked at him, I was like, my mouth must have been, I'm going, this is my Uncle Leo, who gave me great advice. I won't tell you what it was, but when I moved to Toronto, 14 years old. Wow. And he told me not to become a certain kind of woman of the street.
Okay. Good advice.
Well, he wanted me to be pure. And I kept pure. It's so pure. Anyway, no, as pure as I could be. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, it was like that. So he had an experience. And my mom, when she was a little girl, and we talked about this totally. She had these orbs come into her room and play. She said these like golden orbs or something, or orbs. So what did you say those were? Because those are well, it could be one of two things, really. If they were golden, I would more than likely call them interdimensional beings coming in and hanging out with her. Okay. Most ETs, if they're remote viewing you, they'll show up like orbs. They're generally either white or blue or dead red. Okay. It just depends on. Okay. All right. And, the golden ones, I would place that in the hands of an extra dimensional being playing with you. Well, I would say that's probably true, because when later in life, my mom had two bilocation experiences, and I had one bilocation experience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. She was a singer MC at the Brunswick House for 27 years, as you mentioned, but every year she loved to go down to Vegas, and she'd even sing a couple little songs in her favorite lounge, and she met Debbie Reynolds, a lot of stuff. Anyway, she'd go down there, but she loved the desert. She'd go into the desert. That's where she loved into the desert down in Nevada, right? I wonder why. Anyway, twitch. But anyway, this one time she had someone subbing for her at the Brunswick House because someone had to sing. And this woman was there, and she sees my mother, who's supposed to be in Las Vegas, coming into the back of the Brunswick House. and then just going in, and she's saying, Irene, Irene. And my mother just goes into the bathroom and never comes out. And she wasn't there. She was in Vegas at the time. And another time, my mother was a great list maker. I'm a list maker. I list things. Anyway, she was sitting there making a list, and then she ended up going to the little. She was living there on down at Bloor and Ossington area, and she went to the little local convenience store to get her cigarettes and her lottery tickets, And she walked in, and the guy said, Irene, you were just here to buy your cigarettes and lottery tickets. She says, no, I wasn't. I was home. She was making her list to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are called doppelgangers. And what's going on is when a person has advanced psychic ability, they can essentially bilocate, it's kind of like an out-of-body experience.
It is. Yeah.
Well, mine was weird. Because I never, you don't feel it. I used to go down to the Daces Danforth because I was in a Cuban band for many years, and we used to play down at the Danforth, but I wasn't this year at this one time. But I think it was Julian Taylor was playing. I wanted to go see him. It was on a Sunday night. And I'm there at the side of the stage because I could say hi to the band. Hi, it's me, it's Joyce, And I was there dancing away, and there are two female police officers standing right next to me. They said, hey, oh, you're back again. They said, boy, on Friday night, you were out there. You were having a great time dancing and everything. I said, I wasn't here Friday. And they said, oh, no, it was you. And these are people who are used to observing.
Right.
Trained observers, right? Police officers, right?
They're trained observers. And I was at home all alone on that Friday night.
I have
you were dancing. Part of you was.
I want to go dancing.
Yeah.
So
I have an opinion.
Go ahead.
Okay. I have an opinion about bilocating. All right. I can do it, but it's more like a remote view where I fully leave my consciousness fully leaves my body while I'm conscious, and I go to a location instead of being to this person. I'm just relocating my consciousness, and I show up as a full apparition to people. I've done it to Preston. I did it to him once. I stomped his floor. That's how I'm able to make a physical, like I can affect things physically when I do that. When I'm OBEing, I can't touch anything or do anything. I'm like a ghost. But when I remote my consciousness out, I take my, Preston likes to call it ethereal body with me, okay? Because that is my consciousness, and I can affect things like shut doors, open doors. I can stomp the ground. I can move objects, things like that.
Some people are very good at it.
Yeah.
Padre Pio, he's
I was
very
going to say Padre Pio, and also, who's that guru who was doing it too? There's a guru, but this is the exact evidence that shows that we do not die.
Right.
Because to be able to leave the physical like that, and we're still ourselves and doing stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a book on doppelgangers, and they studied all these cases, and in a number of these cases where people were seen somewhere else at that time, they were thinking about going there or thinking about that subject.
Right. Exactly.
So probably lying in bed thinking, "Oh, I'd love to go dancing," and you actually did.
I was probably thinking about Sunday.
Yeah.
So there was a case where a lady was like, "Oh, I'm late for my class. I have to go get to my class," and she's trying to get there, and she walks in, and all the kids go crazy because they had just seen her walk out of the room, and here she is coming in the other door. So it was a classic case of a quote doppelganger.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, and you hear, oh, your doppelganger, but it's far deeper than someone who just looks like you who's somewhere else.
It's actually you. It's the ability, that particular ability is actually what helps me fly craft. If I couldn't do that, I'd never be able to fly craft because I'm remoting out my consciousness to be with the consciousness of the craft, and so I begin to see through the craft side through.
It's a natural psychic ability. Padre Pio could do it to where he completely manifested and could talk to people, and absolutely they thought he was physical, and he was.
Yeah,
he's a good Catholic too. Look at that, you see?
Yeah, same.
There are many pathways into the truth.
There are.
Okay, now you told me another story, and I lost my mind when I heard it. because I've written this book, Human Levitation.
Oh, yes.
All kinds of people. Everyone thinks, oh, it's only monks and yogis who do this. I'm like, well, no, kids have done it. Housewives, businessmen. It's all across the world. It's in every culture. It's been verified in a laboratory setting. This is a natural human talent. And you told me about your mother, and I'm like, oh my God.
I wonder why I had a difficult relationship with my mother. I think she was a hard act to follow.
Yeah, I identify with that.
You're holding up. Don't worry.
It ain't easy. So anyway, I'm about maybe 8 years old or 9, as we just moved into Sunnycrest Drive, 34 Sunnycrest Drive in Ottawa. So my brother is 4 years younger than me. So do the math.
Wow.
My mother calls us into our living room where we have our Danish blue couch and our beautiful Danish coffee table, our Danish side end tables with the African heads on it. You know, everyone had that back there, and the RCA stereo. There we were. She said, sit down. I want to show you what I can do. So she moves the Danish coffee table back, and she lays down on the floor like Superman, okay, like flat on the floor with her arms out in front of her.
On her stomach?
Yes, on her stomach. Watch what I can do. So you obviously done it before. She had to show us. She levitated about 3 inches off the floor and just stayed there. And my brother doesn't remember this, or maybe he's just put it out of his mind.
There's a cat. There's a cat behind you.
Oh, this is Rory. He's my co-producer.
Yes.
Okay. We love the animals.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so
I'm surprised he's not sitting on the computer right now. Anyway.
Yeah.
But oh, he's on the couch.
How long did she do this?
So yes, sorry, he's here. He's looking at the ring light right now. She did it it wasn't very long, but she did it. But the thing was, later in life, she got married a second time to this guy, Alban. And sorry, he's checking out the ring lights. He's over here now. And he's my co-producer. Anyway, she called me, and she said, remember, my mother was very dramatic. Remember, she said, when I levitated in front of you when you were kids. I'm going like, oh, that was real. Because, that also seemed like a dream to me, like you put it out of your head, but it was real. I said, that was real. Yes, it was real. She said, I did it again when Al left for work today. I was lying in bed, and I levitated in the bed.
That's interesting. That's real interesting. Wow.
So after she did it the first time, what did you tell her? What did you think?
I didn't say it. I think it was like we're 8 and 4,
Yeah. Right.
What are we going to say? We just saw our mother levitate. Maybe we didn't think that was odd. Maybe we didn't think it was weird because of who we were, I mean, right. I'd already, at 8 years old, I've already been on craft. And when here's another thing. In that same house, excuse me a second. Okay, say hello to everybody, Rory. Get it out of your system, okay? Yeah. He's a big boy. Anyway, I was in grade 5 at the time. I was 10 years old. And my mother, in the morning, she said, I tried to wake you all up last night, she said. I tried, and you were all asleep and you wouldn't wake up. But she had gone to the back window and she had seen a craft hovering above. And she said, yeah, there was a craft, a spaceship. And I said, and again, the weird thing is, we never thought that was a weird thing for her to tell us. Like, we lived in kind of a world of, where my mother and my grandmother put the cards out. We had an Aunt Valerie who was telling fortunes in tea rooms in Ottawa. It was kind of our heritage. But we all talked about different things, unusual things, and archaeology and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, So, but the thing was, in the Ottawa Citizen that day, a doctor in Gatineau had seen the same thing.
Ah, there you
So
go.
it was actually written up in the paper. So I had cut that article out and I put it in my science book for Mr. Martin to see, my grade 5 teacher, because it was like, that was my news item that I brought to school. I pasted in my science book. I don't have it anymore, but it was that kind of thing where, yeah, so we had experiences throughout. And we were in Quebec, when we were living in Hull, Quebec. My mother made us all go look for the green swamp gas. So because no one else was the bonum, the bonum. I had an interesting life, and also the thing with the was Rockcliffe Air Base. I know I'm going in kind of a helical, messy way of telling my story, but
all right.
and so, well, I'll get back to everything. But the thing is that my mom used to say all the green lights. She was dramatic. The gremlins. She tells about the gremlins who used to sit on the aircraft during the war and mess them up. Anyway.
I know. My mom used to love gargoyles, okay? She had a gargoyle fetish, unbelievable. And she had them, excuse me, I hit my mic. She had them on the corners of our roof of our house. On the front.
You're kidding me.
No.
Did you live in Hogwarts or something?
She was a gargoyle person. She loved gargoyles. And a particular type too. And I used to watch it and think, okay, fine, it's just life. My mother, this is my mom, okay? I don't know what I thought the night that this happened to me, but I sure remember the fact that my mother was a gargoyle lover and that she had seen them. That's why. I'm coming home from the base. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm exhausted. I've been on the road all day. We've been transporting bombs and stuff like that. And it's pouring rain, okay? And I live on Pine Mountain, Georgia, up on the top of a mountain in a log cabin in the middle of nowhere. And I go by this property that's on the right. R.J. Reynolds owned it. The tinfoil people, and he's got this huge tree and he's got this beautiful copper roof on his house. So when that light is on next to the tree with shining off the copper roof, it kind of lights everything up. And as I'm approaching it, I got my wipers on and I'm looking, I got the blower on to keep my windshield from fogging. And I see this big black thing sitting in the top of that tree. I'm like, what the heck is that? And I slowed down. Now I'm in a Dodge 150 truck, okay, with a Hemi, okay?
It's good thing you're not walking down the street.
Driving slow. And it just as I approached the tree to come under the tree, it jumped out of the tree and hit my windshield and went down the window, slid off the hood, and went down in front of the truck. Well, I ran it over, okay? I don't play. I'm trained to take care of myself, okay? And I took off and I went home. Got out of my day stuff, got my jammies on, and sat
wildlife beware.
Waiting for this thing to come for me because I know I didn't squish it. The truck was high off the ground. And I'm thinking, what the hell was it? It was a gargoyle. It was a big black with wings gargoyle.
Like a griffin.
What?
Like a griffin.
A gargoyle, yeah, something like that. It was
a gargoyle. But in ancient times, there were the griffins. Which had the wings. They were like
but they weren't big wings. They were little cruddy rings,
Cruddy wings, okay.
Okay. And it was a big brown pudgy thing, okay? And in the morning, I didn't want to play with the truck. In the morning, I went and looked at the window because it cut my windshield. It cut scratches into the windshield. Gosh. And I called my mom 2 days later because I had to get over myself, and I said, Mom, have you seen a gargoyle for real in your lifetime? And she said, what? And I said, seriously, have you seen a gargoyle in your lifetime? Is that why you love them so much? And dead silence on the other end of the phone, dead silence. And she said, why are you asking me this? And I said, because I bloody saw one in the middle of the damn night last night. That's why. And she got even quieter. And then I hear her laughing. And she said, well, I'm not the only one now, am I? And I was like, okay, thank you. Click.
Contactees have a wide variety of paranormal experiences. Yeah. Almost always. It's the rule rather than the exception.
Well, we talk to the wee fairy folk, we do,
Yeah.
Fairy folk, all the cats, Rory and Fiona, I did. So, and I am part Irish, Celtic blood.
Irish, so am I.
Me too.
I am Irish. I'm Kelly and Kite Irish.
So this we have in common too, because we also have that other side from another area. You know, we have
Yeah.
There are a lot of Jews who are Irish.
Yeah.
Faith in Bigara. Faith in Bigara.
That's right. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about some psychic experiences, because I know you've had some, your mom's had some.
Well,
am I right?
Well, yeah, my mother more than me. You know, my mother is very psychic. My mother, I'll tell you about my mother. She anytime she was near somebody who was going to die, she smelled roses. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't ever want her to smell roses around you. Yeah, that kind of thing. It was just, it's kind of a general thing, you know, like it's almost like it's part of our lives. And my mother, I hated it when she used to say this, you know, she'd say, well, you know, we go back to Romania and there were gypsies who came from Romania. She was always, I have to do this. I'm sorry to mock you, Mom, but you know, you're obviously coming through me here. So she said, they came to Ireland. Came to Ireland, and then we came to Canada, of course, you know. The McCormicks. So it's
Wow.
my grandfather's side.
I'm actually related to Vlad the Impaler. No kidding. He's a relative of mine. Yep.
So you also go back to Romania?
Yeah, and they did go to Ireland. Yeah.
I know. Are we related, Dolly? Do you think we should have our DNA done together?
I already had mine. I don't know. Did you do yours?
I had my DNA done. I haven't seen you come up in my my ancestry yet. But you see, I'm telling you,
I use a different name. My name is different in my ancestry file to protect me. So you may have seen me. We'll talk after the show about that.
Well, no wonder you're seeing gargoyles.
So your mom also had a premonition about 9/11?
My mother came to me. It wasn't that much far. It was like several months before 9/11. My mother said to me, I had the strangest dream. And I said, what? She said, well, I saw these buildings and I saw these birds going into the buildings and the buildings coming down. It was a very simple dream, but when 9/11 happened, we knew what that was. You know, it was the planes going into. Yeah. And she also. I wish I should have. I don't know why I don't have this in front of me. She had some predictions about economic collapse in the world. She saw a world economic collapse.
Well, you sent us some notes, so.
There they are. I said, oh, you happen to have them. Good for you.
Yeah, which is cool because, you know, this is documentation.
Yeah, I did send them to you because I found these after she died, you know, in her papers, in her paperwork. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same thing. I actually see things that are going to happen. I can't hear it, but I can see it in full living color. Okay, and it overtakes me when it happens, and I get a full scale in it that I see it and I know what it is, and I keep it to myself. I don't tell anybody what they are. I've only told one or two other people in my life, and it was like cousins. You know, I haven't even told Preston. It's not pretty. It's so upsetting, and I have the issue of trying to stay hopeful while I'm doing all this stuff, you know, to be positive about it as I can. But there are days where I know what's coming. I've seen it. I know, and it's annoying as heck because I don't feel like there's nothing we could. Okay, let me use my English better than that. I don't feel like there is anything that we have the ability to stop at this point. I think that we've reached anarchy. You know, we're antithesis already. And all we can do is help ourselves. And that's where I try to bring all the hope about what we're facing in the world with each other. It's like we have to work on ourselves. We have to work on ourselves, period. Heal ourselves. Everybody who needs to wake up just needs to wake up because we're our own best friends this way. If the world's going crazy, it doesn't matter what the world is doing. We must help ourselves, okay, and each other.
This is one of the ET messages for sure. Yeah.
I kind of had this discussion with someone today. Because it's very upsetting what's going on, and well, you know, some people with the Venezuela thing, whatever, you know, it's like we have to ride this storm, and we have to do. There's not much we're going to be able to do about it. We can vote, we can do different things, but we're going to be riding a very rough storm this 2026. It's in the astrological charts. Everything's been coming out. But I was also going to mention, I want to mention towards the end of 2026, the astrologers are saying it's going to ease up. It's almost like we have to go through this and get rid of some bad actors. It sounds terrible. And then when we come out of this, it's like we've had enough. Enough is enough, you know? Now, the other thing the astrologers are saying, and this Joni Patri, she's very interesting. She does Vedic astrology. She is, and she's been right. She predicted death of Kirk. She also predicted on December 13th the arrest of Maduro. It's there. It's there. You see it. And she said that we're going to have disclosure, like for UAPs or wherever they're. I like UFOs. I like UFOs. Whatever extraterrestrial stuff. Yeah. This year. And of course, Doll, you've mentioned that they're not really here now. They won't be here because of our magnetosphere. Everything they can't. It troubles the crafts to come in here because they're going to crash if they come in here. But do you know who is here? We are here. Right? Yeah. We're here. And they're going to have to turn to us to help them with disclosure, to bring the true disclosure forward. Because I know right now with what's the Congress, just if you're far more articulate than I am regarding what's happening in Congress. It's good. It's good that it's happening. I think it's good because at least it's being talked about. Yeah, and at least my ex-husband says to my daughter, well, your mother was right about one thing, aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom always knew. Yeah.
But there's going to be disclosure this year, apparently.
Steps towards it. I don't think our governments are ever going to be fully truthful or transparent.
No, they're going to throw a false flag on us. They already started. It's already beginning. It's in the works.
But yeah, you can't hide the truth forever. It's impossible.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because the more that we come forward and talk about it, like we're doing right now, and you're pro. I'll tell you, I have my Joyce Aldrich show. I've got my UFO and paranormal edition and my arts and entertainment edition. Great, yeah. Mine is an hors d'oeuvre compared to your show. No, I'm. It's easy for me to say. I have no problem. Yeah, thank you. It's a lovely picture. Take it off. Anyway, no. Thank you. You're so very good producer. Anyway, no. The thing is that what was I saying? It wasn't a lie. My grandma said you can't remember it. It's a lie. No, but the thing we're here. We're here, and I do believe it's what we're doing. It's the truth is getting out there. There's more people wanting to know this. Even my son who's been closed because I think he just denial. And just this last month, he started talking to me about it a little bit. It's a little crack in the doors opening for people, and they're not necessarily.
I want
to come out one way or another.
It's important that we understand that we're not alone, but it's even more important to understand that we have the right to use our abilities the way we need to. Okay, this is the more important truth that we all have to learn. We have to stop thinking about what ET can do for us. We have to learn to do this stuff for ourselves. That's ET's positive message to us: is we're equipped. We just need to do it. And that's what awakening is. That's what getting into consciousness is. That's what making the right choices for yourself entails.
Exactly.
You walk away from all this stuff that's going on around you, the anarchy, and you focus inward and you learn to use your abilities. And there's a lot of ways to do that. And the more you do that, the more focused you become, and the more you're able to see things as they really are. Because reality is not reality to most people here. They don't know what reality really is. They don't see it because they're too busy being confused and misled.
Riding the crest of the wave instead of being the wave,
Right. And it's important that we wake up. That's what I mean when I say wake up. We need to understand it isn't a horror show, not by the least little bit, because we still have a beautiful place to live. We still have beautiful people to be with. We still have beautiful things to do for one another and ourselves. We still have joy and hope and everything else. Our lives are finite here, and when you wake up, you realize that it's very finite. You know, you're not going to live forever, and there's no machine that's going to take over and live for you at all. It doesn't matter how short or long your time here is. Just knowing that you have a time, you should jump into it and enjoy it every day, every second, and do for yourself what you need to be doing, and make the right choices in that regard. And I hope people.
It's one part of our soul journey. That's the thing. We are souls having a physical, like this particular physical journey. We may end up in another planet, in another body, or we may end up in,
for sure.
Spirit, for sure. I mean,
you have lifetime after lifetime after lifetime to live in this universe, in this third dimension. It's the schoolroom across the entire universe. There are billions and billions and trillions of planets that are like us or more advanced or whatever. You can go anywhere and do anything to choose to do that. And everybody chose to be here right now. Don't doubt that for a minute. And that's a big heads up. That's where, when I say make the right choices, understand that that's what that is. That's the reality of your situation. You're learning something right now, and you're either going to learn it and move on and evolve, or you're not. And that's a choice you're still going to make for yourself. Good luck with that.
I was going to say, I'm going to segue into this Jerry Springer story from the
yay!
I'll tell you how I'm going to segue, because when people see the light that you're exuding, they'll either back off or they'll pounce on you. One of the two things. They either make your life miserable, or they just go, "Oh, I can't." Or something repels or attracts. Anyway, so Dr. David Gottlieb, who I was seeing, the GP psychotherapist, who ended up being the head of psychiatry at St. Joseph's Hospital, so he was not, like I said, a charlatan. Anyway, he got a call from the Jerry Springer show, and they asked him because they knew he was doing stuff with Bud Hopkins with the Intruders Foundation, asked if he had anybody, contactee or experiencer, who would like to come on the show and talk about their experiences.
Neat.
I got a call because I'd already been on the Jeannie Petty show. I had been on the Christopher Thomas show. I had been on all kinds of programs, and because I said I was coming out, right? Because I didn't want people to feel alone. Of course, it was at great risk.
Yeah.
And the laughter curtain and everything else. It was not a time when you really did come out, because people just thought you were a matter.
Yeah.
Anyway,
kudos to you for doing that, because most people don't have the courage to do that. And you're right. People lose their jobs over this kind of thing. People's
well, I lost my store. I lost my store because of it. No one would come in and buy stuff from me. So I went like $40,000 in debt. Let's not talk about it. Oh, disgusting.
But it's the right thing. You followed the path of truth.
I did. And then I had my interstellar UFO show, which actually I'm just going to show you. This is the set piece.
Oh, your song is fading a little bit. So
yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you wave your hand in front of the mic on your computer, we lose you.
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
Okay.
The French in me. The French and the Jewish. Anyway, but anyway, so Dr. Gottlieb told me would like to go on the Jerry Springer show. And the weirdest thing, they're in Chicago. Only a couple of weeks or 3 weeks before that, my son came to me one day and he says, "I wonder what it would be like to eat Chicago pizza." He's 9 years old. Where did he ever hear about Chicago pizza? And then he said, "I wonder what it would be like to ride in a limousine." Well, not much longer than that, we were on a plane to Chicago to do the Jerry Springer show. My son was coming with me. My daughter's taking my, yeah. And
what
so
year?
That was what year? Well, he was 9 years old. So let me do the math. He was born in 1984.
So
yeah.
that would be 1990.
Right.
Okay, it's after I was in Chicago. I lived in Chicago for a little while. Okay, go ahead.
Look, I'm a math midget. Somebody's watching tonight and he's not a math midget. Okay, Paul, sorry about this. Anyway, you say, what a dumb Dora. Anyway.
No.
Anyway, under pressure, I can't add. Anyway, things just don't add up for me. So anyway, the point is that we were picked up in Jerry Springer's limo. And of course, that night we were given each $100 each to spend, on, we were at Eduardo's Pizza eating Chicago pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Jerry Springer show had flown in Bud Hopkins, and they were going to fly in a psychologist from Austin, Texas. They were trying to get my husband at that time to go against me. So they kept asking me questions. The producer kept calling and saying, "Well, do you believe what your wife is saying and everything? What about this?" They tried to grill him so that he'd come, he'd be, that kind of conflict on air. He said, "Who am I to say that she didn't have these experiences?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they couldn't break him down, which thank God. And they couldn't break me down. They couldn't break my friend Leah down, who was with us. And my son, of course, was there too. And I didn't want him on the show, obviously, but he had an experience. I had stupidly mentioned his experience. Anyway, he wasn't going to be on the show, though. But anyway, they called me, and they called my husband. Sorry, they didn't call me. They could get the story straight. They called my husband, and they said, "We're not going to do the show." They canceled the audience. They canceled the show. They sent everybody back home, Bud Hopkins back home, and the psychologist. This is a great expense to cancel a show. This is big money, big money. And the day before, I was on the windy beach of Chicago. I think it was in May. It was awful weather, and of course they were taking pictures of us, like film. So I'm there, and then I disappear. They were going to make it look like I disappeared into a ship or something. Abducted.
Yeah,
really
B-roll.
Campy crap, campy stuff. And anyway, so my husband came to me. Said, "What?" He said, "Was it worth it to meet Bud Hopkins and talk to him and go to the museum with him?" And I said, "It was absolutely worth it." He said, "Well," he said, "they canceled the show. They sent everybody home. They're sending us home." I went, and it was a hand of God. It was absolutely, and but that's the kind of thing where when you tell the truth, and they said, you believe this? You really believe this happened?" They believed us. They couldn't have us on the show because they believed us.
The media is owned, right? Jerry Springer was owned as well. And they have a narrative that they're pushing. And if you're outside of that box, it's not going to fly, There's plenty of people that won't talk to me in this arena that we're in, There are plenty of people that are avoiding Preston probably because of me. That breaks my heart and hurts me terribly for him that I might be causing that to happen. And then I think about it for a little while and I realize, what? He's telling the truth as he understands it to be. And he's done enough research to know when he knows the truth. Okay. He's lived the truth. I've lived the truth. You've lived the truth. And everybody else can just take a hike at this point. That's how I feel about it. You're going to be a moron if you're not going to listen and open your mind up and at least do your own homework into whether it's true or not, and then not worry about who's paying you or, I could get graphic here and I'm not. I want to so bad. Just cut it out. Get over yourself already. The truth is the truth. And it's more, in my mind, the truth is more enticing and entertaining than all the do that they put out there, the do.
Yeah. Well, I like what Scarlet Fire wrote in chat. "The truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Let it loose. It will defend itself." St. Augustine. So thank you, Scarlet Fire. That's a good quote.
Thank you.
I wanted to touch on Betty.
Betty. How do you pronounce her last name?
Betty Stewart. She passed away in 1992. Cancer. She's in this book.
Betty Dejanay?
Yeah, Betty Stewart Dagenet. Yeah, but she went by Betty Stewart because she didn't want to use the family name because she had an only son who worked actually think down at NASA. Anyway, but the thing is that she's in this book, and the only reason she's in this book is because John Robert Colombo and I convinced her to at least give us a partial piece of her book to put in here. She was writing a book.
Oh,
So
all
it's
right.
in here. It's under Rendezvous. It's right after mine. It's in here. It's called Rendezvous. Anyway, that was the name of her book. So she was dying of cancer in the hospital, and John Robert Colombo and I went in to talk to her. Of course, I was always there for her all the time, you know, coming there to visit her. She's like a mother to me. And she said to John and I, "Could you please finish my book?" You know, she had all the notes and everything was handwritten, pages, like big manuscript. And we said, we can put it together for you. Sure. What do you want us to do? She said, I would like you two to finish the book. We said, yeah, we can do that. But her family, her son and whatever, they didn't want anything done with this book. So she passed away. She died. And we're at the funeral, and she was going into a crematorium. And we're both of us are at the coffin saying our last respects. And I said, John, I said, you know where the book is, eh? The manuscript. The family had stuffed it in the coffin at the base where her feet were. And I said, and the coffin was still open because there's and the funny thing is, both one of her friends and myself, we had done her makeup and hair. I did her hair and it was a weird thing. Anyway,
Yep.
I did her hair. My friend did her makeup. Anyway, because her friend was in the Jarrett family of funeral homes. Anyway, long story there. That was something else. But anyway, we knew that the manuscript that the family had put it in the foot of the coffin because they knew it would get burned with her. And we're standing there, we're going like, she asked us to finish this, John. What are we going to do? And we were just trying to think how we could get it out.
I would have gone out in front of God and everybody. I'd have dared anybody to make me give it back to him. I would have put it in my shirt and walked out.
But you had to be there. Everybody, you know, we're standing there, and there's a whole lot of people sitting there in the pews or whatever, you know, and they're looking at us saying goodbye to Betty, and it's like, geez, what are we going to do here? And we had to. We're watching the coffin go down on the rails, you know, and sink down into the crematorium with the book. So there's a little tiny piece of it there, and that, and I had to type it all up for her and everything, but she didn't want to let go of it. I don't want to just let a little piece out because I want the whole book out. Thank goodness we got a piece of it.
Yeah, she's actually pretty well known.
Oh yes,
UFO researchers, because she had an implant removed and it was studied.
That's right, and it had a little hook on it. Yeah, she had. That's right.
Wow.
I don't know where that implant went because I was there after she died. It was in her place in Bond. She was also on the Man Alive. You can still find it on Man Alive. David Cherniak was the producer, and he produced that. And she had an experience with somebody who came to her, you know, in a contact in her shed in the back, and then they were relocated, and they recognized each other, and they'd never met each other in the physical before. Really incredible.
Yeah, and her implant was one of the best studied implant cases. It was published up in a very famous UFO magazine in Canada. I forget the name of it, but they actually studied it, and it was really remarkable. I mean, this was definitely something that should not have been just sitting there.
I don't know where the implant went. I swear, I don't know where. A lot of things went missing after she died. I ended up with 13 carloads of fabric and all kinds of stuff. And you know what else I got? Please, God. She had a really favorite cat. Oh, I won't even go into this. It's too awful. Anyway, I inherited a pelt.
Oh, yay. Wow.
Oy vey, oy vey. It was a black cat, and here I am, considered the witch of the town with this metaphysical bookstore, and I thought, oh my gosh, I got the pelt of a black cat. She didn't have it. She was going to have it taxidermied, but she
Mhm.
never do it. Just had the pelt.
Oh my goodness.
And I
Wow.
thought, how do I dispose of this in the garbage? If anyone finds this, they're going to think I'm killing black cats or something. So anyway, it was a terrible
Yeah.
experience.
Well,
Anyway,
well,
what else would you like to know?
you had a bit of a difficult, pathway to move forward, because at that time, like you said, this subject
Yeah.
is not like accepted as it is today. Even now, people still get, gaslit, ridiculed, and so
Mhm.
forth.
I
But
was
back,
told the other day it's definitely a conversation stopper when you start
yeah,
talking about it.
I know. It is. I run into people all the time that have heard things with regards to what my story is negatively to them, okay,
Mhm.
who are either ufologists or producers, whatever, okay. And when I run into them, it's I don't get upset about it or anything. Once I decided to say my piece to somebody who will remain nameless, and I did it because I genuinely think this person is knowledgeable more than most people know, and so I said my piece to them, okay, and wasn't trying to be mean or anything, but I cared enough about this person to tell them absolute truth, okay, and but I can't do that to everybody, because I don't want to push the boat over, because
Well,
everybody in ufology deserves to know the truth. That's how I look
yeah.
at it. You might be 100% wrong right now, or have no clue about what you're talking about, or be in such a misguided, delusional mindset and thinking about this whole subject, but you still deserve to know the truth. And you deserve ample time to let it hit you. And the only way that's going to happen is if we all keep telling the truth,
yeah.
Then
Some people are just so close-minded, though. It's like trying to make a flower bloom by peeling the petals open. We can't do that. It's not going to happen.
It has to open on. So, well, I talk to people about this too, especially people, in my Jewish community, because, and actually, when I tell them I have a UFO and paranormal show, they go, wow, it's cool. Because, the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, who's a great Rebbe and a very holy man, and
yeah.
so they asked him, do you believe in life on other planets? And he said very simply, who are we to limit God?
Right.
And that's what I would tell anybody. Who are we to limit God? We don't. Some of us we're fortunate to have had to know this, but there's another thing too. When we talk about disclosure and everything, ultimately, our role in this planet is not to say like I'm a hybrid. We're going to talk about that too. But we're here to be a light. And that we talk about, be a light unto the nations. We are supposed to all be a light.
Right.
And to shine our light, however that is, and we're not perfect. We get angry, get all pissy and whatever, and we have all kinds of things going on. But you know what? Ultimately, well, no, we're human, right? We are human for the most part.
Most of us are.
Well, okay. Now after, okay, I gotta talk about this because I don't know what kind of time we have, but
We have 10
remember,
minutes.
okay, we got it then. Dolly, remember after the show, after I had you on the show, I told you that my daughter had said to me, Mom, weren't your eyes green?
Yeah.
And I said, she said, why are they blue now? And I thought, oh, because, pigmentation and everything, pigment changes and everything. And, when you get older, I said, your hair gets gray, your face gets paler, your eyes get paler. But you said to me, go ahead.
Oh,
Because you asked, because you said
it's a hybrid thing. It's an actual hybrid thing. We there are 3 ethnicities of ET that have this ethnicity that we have in us. Okay, and it's like I was born with gray eyes, gray white eyes. Okay, there was an actress that used to have those color eyes. I had them. I frightened people. I was Children of the Corn, by the way. Okay, until I hit puberty.
White blonde hair, short.
Yeah,
she was a tomboy.
Glad you still have your tongue. They're just pressed.
I know. Puberty started and my hair started turning red. Okay, and my mother was like, and the eye color started, and I got bluer and bluer and bluer, and now I have blue green eyes. Okay, I have blue with green overlay in my eyes, and it never stopped. And I asked the ETs, you know, what's up with that? Why am I doing that? Because I have no reasonable explanation for this, because genetically it's not, it should not be happening to me. Okay.
Right.
Nobody should have this happen. And mama, my liaison, okay, said point blank, you have my eyes. I went, what? And she said, you know, you're related to me. You have my eyes. And she said, mine have done exactly the same thing. It's a genetic trait from us. And I went, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. It's the hybrid trait. Okay. And a lot of us on this planet who are hybrid have that trait. And we either have white hair, red hair, really auburn hair, and blue eyes, green eyes, or blue-green eyes. And
I had auburn hair as a child, but
yeah.
I don't anymore. I didn't anymore.
Well, now you see
I had a little bit of red in my hair, but that was
when I was in my middle 40s, I started going white like my dad. My dad was redheaded as well. And then it all turned this. That's all I got left. And it's weird.
Look at me.
Oh, you're beautiful too, Preston.
Oh,
adorable.
You are. I love you guys. I love you guys.
We love you too. Well, I miss my hair. I do. I used to have really beautiful hair.
You can always get, one of those implants or something. There's an implant you can get.
I don't think we would do that.
Painful. It looks they say you can't grow hair on steel.
That's my other problem. I don't have hair anywhere. I'm not haired like everybody else is here either. I have a very
I'm a hairless wonder. I'm a hair. Sorry, that's awful. A lot of
I don't shave. I don't have to shave nothing. Okay.
I don't have to either. I've never shaved my legs. My legs have no hair
Preston
on them.
didn't believe me until we started, we moved in and he's like, oh my God, you don't ever shave, do you? I don't even have a razor. It's like,
I don't either.
Yeah, and
I don't either. Oh my gosh. So my eyes are not, you said if I had aging eyes, the green would just go paler. But they turn color. See, they're blue.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
They weren't blue.
Kaleidoscope eyes. My daughter has kaleidoscope eyes. Like that. Yep. I mean, it's the way it is.
And my daughter and my granddaughter have green eyes.
Yeah. Are you photophobic? You know what that means?
I'm afraid of having my picture taken.
No.
Oh,
light sensitive.
Oh, that photophobic.
I go blind and highlight. When
I get if the light hits me the wrong way, I get auras.
Yeah, you got it. That's photophobic. It causes all kinds of problems. Night driving for me, it's like great. I can see at night really, really, really well. But to have a car coming at me sends me straight to where, because I immediately go, oh my God, it hits my eyes and I go nuts. That's why when I'm with ET and I'm flying, I wear the black lenses over my eyes to protect me.
Which is what they do.
Yep, exactly. Yep. All right. Let me see.
My gosh. Are we coming to the end here?
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know if anyone asked any questions down there in the chat. I haven't put my glasses on to see. Or if they just gone silent, they're going like, oh no.
We didn't get a whole lot of questions. Here's one from Leah Omega. What are the races your guests has come in contact with most frequently? So what type of ETs would you?
Well, I guess it was the praying mantis type, the mantis, mostly. Yeah. That's what I remember the most. And they're the kindest, gentlest creatures, let me tell you. And they're very delicate and beautiful the way they're
not fully third dimensional beings. They're extra dimensional. They're fourth dimensional. I'm not kidding. And they don't live in the same gravity that we do, and they're older than everything. I mean,
they're quite beautiful. I don't know what, and I guess the ones who came through, they weren't praying mantis, but when I got up, the ones who took me in the elevator, they seemed like they were. Maybe they were. It's so hard to.
I have a burning question. Were you klutzy as a kid?
Oh my God, klutzy now. I thought my name was Careful.
That makes perfect sense to me because they don't generally give elevator rides to anybody for any reason whatsoever unless they're terrified you're going to kill yourself on their stairs. Okay, and I have a funny feeling that they were worried about you. I'm not kidding you, because no elevator materializes for nobody. Everybody walks the ramp or the stairs, and to take you up that way, and I wouldn't call it the
Which
elevator.
they have the ability to do. 'Cause they
What
can,
is it? What is that? Was it?
They-
It wasn't.
they have a
I
lift.
went into a room and and then it was dark. And
They use it to transport stuff up between the levels. It's a lift, and they put you in it. It's like I'm racking my brain, like, why would they do that? And then that's why I asked you, are you klutz? They
My
probably
mother,
knew it.
well, the thing is, well, after I had that accident, the
Yeah.
head-on crash, I would trip over lines in the sidewalk. I swear.
Well, there you go. That
And
explains it.
I still do to this day. I broke my wrist last year. I broken. Oh, it gets better now.
okay.
Yeah.
But you
All right,
know,
well-
I'm a total klutz.
Well, thanks for
Yeah.
coming on the show. We're
I
out of
think oh,
time.
someone said my Indian name is woman who bumps into things.
I like that. That's perfect.
So before we, have to let you go because we're pretty much out of time, tell us a little bit about, your podcast.
Oh yeah, yes, that's the Joyce Aldrich Show. It's on Spotify, YouTube, and Patreon. 2 editions, Arts and Entertainment, which is I feature a lot of great musicians, artists, and then I've got, of course, the UFO and Paranormal edition, where I have wonderful people like you on it, and I've got someone, actually, Michelle Freeze, giving me a guest. She used to be the producer for
Coast to Coast, yeah.
Yeah. So she's getting me a guest. She just recommended someone today, so they're coming on in a couple of weeks. So yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you
Very
have
cool.
it.
And y'all need to check her show out because Joyce sings on the show. I'm not kidding. It's awesome. You need to
Oh,
check
yeah.
that out. Yeah.
Oh, you're so
I love
Starlight.
that. I know. I wish I was brave
Yeah.
enough to sing now, but I don't have a voice anymore. I used to sing as well when I was younger.
Yes, you did. You tell me
Yeah,
this.
but I had thyroid cancer and took my voice away. So
All right, we have to close it down, Dolly. I want to thank you guys very much for watching us today. Thank you, Joyce. It's been amazing. Thank you, you wonderful people who are able to donate. It truly helps us a lot. But
yes,
just
thank you.
namaste. Amazing. Janie Mashburn, you guys are incredible. Heidi Hansen. Let's see who else. Ben from Oz. Sunny Burnett. You guys, just can't thank you enough. But yeah, all of you guys for just joining us on the show. Really, really glad that you could join us today.
Absolutely.
People and you guys in chat are so kind. Thank you so much for all the wonderful comments.
We love you guys a lot. We're going to have a good year together. We got lots of cool things coming. So we're going to.
All right, Dolly, I guess it's
all right. Okay.
time to take us out.
You guys are awesome. You got a fantastic show.
Thank you.
Enjoy. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you all for joining us on the Lightgate this Monday night. We're coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM, who are on the Gulf Coast. We are on Facebook, we're on Roku, we're on Rumble, and we are on YouTube. I want you all to go live and joy this week. I want you to find your happy. I want you to find yourself. I want you to be conscious. Mwah. We love you. Name